was asked, since this is really what is close to being it's the 30th anniversary of the Pittsburgh Historical Society. Technically, I think it's 31, but anyway, we actually became the 501c3. And I'm supposed to give like a 5-minute quick talk on this. I'm just going to give a quick talk on our website, 5 minutes, and then we're going into the program that you actually came for. I'm excited, of course, to give a brief history of the Pittsburgh Historical Society. It's a pretty easy thing for me to do because I was one of 7 people who got together on September 17, 1986, in Jeannie Seeling's, who was then Mayor Jeannie Seeling's office, in the old City Hall on Fishatry Road. Do you all remember the old City Hall? Fishatry. The 7 people were Philomena Fox. You remember the Foxes? Jeannie O'Brien, Mickey Schmudlock, now deceased, Jeannie Seeling, Edna Stoneman, deceased, and myself. Jeannie had called some of us together to discuss the possibility of setting up a historical society to preserve the history of Pittsburgh and get in some organized fashion for safekeeping and accessibility all the things that were available. And if you recall, Pittsburgh had just become a city in 1983, and this was 1986. And more thoughts were going towards preserving historical photos, family histories, school histories, old maps scattered around the community. And I could tell many interesting stories about where we picked up our maps and things like that. I can still see Bill Stoneman, if some of you, or maybe all of you remember Bill Stoneman. And he was in the old City Hall with a ladder, getting stuff out of the attic. I'll never forget that, and getting a lot of the books and so forth, they were stored up in the attic. And then we went over to a well house. I think it was on the road. And got stuff. So it came from a lot of places. And of course we had to inspect all the books to make sure there was no mildew and things like that. So it was quite a project. Plus there were a lot of older generation that's not currently here that could tell us a lot about Pittsburgh. And some of them actually had books and records in their home, like school records and city records. So we were able to get them at that time, and I mean, that was a good thing. Because otherwise, you know, what happens to things, they just get thrown out. So at the first meeting in September of '86, we discussed things like, would we collect artifacts? Where would we find a home for our collections? And that was a big problem all the way up to the current time when they built the library. And they gave us an office in the library and some limited space to store things down in the basement. At least we know it's all climate controlled, and we don't have to worry about that. Because we were in the old City Hall for quite a while when everybody was gone, and they were good about seeing the air conditioning was left on, etc. But we soon had to move out of there. And then the fire station actually let us use their building for storing things. We were in there for a while, and let's see, we were in a couple other places before we actually got a place here when they built the library. So we're grateful to be here. It's wonderful for storing the records, and we wish we had even a bigger place, but you always want a bigger place, you know. Let's see, I'll tell you about the first meeting. Philomena Fox and Connie Darling, you know Connie Darling, we met quite a few times at my house trying to figure out the nitty-gritty of how we would handle charter membership. And at our big upcoming meeting on October 22nd that year, when the day arrived, we had 15 people that showed up to discuss the formation. They were all excited about it. So we went ahead and we contacted Tom McKay, who was in charge of local history division of the State Historical Society, so we could be a part of other historical societies. And we talked about how we would preserve the Dogtown Schoolhouse, the McCoy House, researching cemeteries, oral interviews. It was just a lot of fun, it really was. and we delved into quite a few things right away. So we held a successful charter membership meeting on February 15th, 1987, at 2 o'clock in the Fitchburg City Hall. 89 people came and are charter members. Quite a few of the other generation are now deceased. On February 20th of 1987, we were informed by the Board of Curators of the State Historical Society that they had approved our affiliation with them, and that's when we became Fitchburg Historical Society 501c3. We're excited today, as we were back then, to preserve Fitchburg's history and discover things about early Fitchburg that we didn't know before. And we're so grateful that we got out and interviewed a lot of the older citizens at that time. And as you know, they have put a Fitchburg history book out in the bicentennial year. And so we got together, that older generation. We actually met at my mother and father-in-law's house on Irish Lane, farmhouse, and we indexed that book. And it was a good thing we did, because those people, that generation, knew so much, and they could give us dates and so forth, so that we were able to index that Fitchburg history book. That's in the libraries if you ever want it, and I think a lot of you have a copy of it too. So that's mainly what I wanted to tell you about, just to brief you. This would really be our 31st year, but we didn't have time last year. We were getting into setting up an internet site, and Alan's going to tell you about that. It's very active, and we're excited about it. Okay.
I'd like to follow up Carol's presentation for a short update. Over a year ago, the Fitchburg Historical Society obtained a mini-grant to develop a database, digitize its records and photographs. To date, we have developed a database containing administrative documents as well as descriptions and images of our historical collection totaling over 3,000 records. The database is searchable so items can be quickly found. In addition, we have developed a website that contains stories and photographs describing the history of Fitchburg. In an effort to make our historical collection more accessible, we have developed quick loading online searchable PDF files containing most of our photographs in addition to about 2/3 of our obituary collection, including deceased names, birth and death dates and places, all names mentioned in the obituaries, images of the obituaries, and links to gravesite information. Just recently, we obtained a YouTube account and currently have 24 interview videos and 4 videos of past Historical Society meetings on the site. These videos can be viewed by clicking on video presentations on the right sidebar of our website. We are working with the Fact TV to make more of these videos available in the near future. Finally, we are also looking for short stories of historical interest, whether from the past or the present time. Please consider contributing to this endeavor. We have editors that can help you write the short stories and even take photographs. And that's what will make, I think, our website even better by having that personal touch, remembering from the past.